In this video, we're going to take you through some project ideas on how to extend and explore a variety of topics in your classroom. So the first thing I want to just reiterate again is back over in the Lego WeDo app, there's a whole stack of projects that you can tap into. So again, under this blue Classroom Projects button, as mentioned in the previous videos, a great place to start with your projects is these first 8 videos, but then moving into these guided projects. Now these ones come with build instructions for the most part, and it'll also show you some code, but they tap in really nicely to further units of work, like this sort to recycle one. And like before, it gives you some background, there's some videos, and this is all about a recycling truck and how to sort, and then sharing your work at the end. But further down, as you'll see these open project ones that let you explore a number of things, particularly in science as well as HSIE, to build into your projects. And going back to that top menu, at the very bottom of the screen, there are a few more guided and open ones that dig a little deeper into that computational thinking. I'll also draw you, I've got some examples here from some different projects that we've discovered through our work with different schools through the STEM T4L program. Now here's some of the things that we've seen in the classroom over time. Some of the collaborative projects, like you can see this one here at the top of the screen, where everyone had to build a different driving robot, and their aim as a group was to try and pull this tricycle across the school. It's a really great way to get different groups with different ideas to work together. Fashioning some sort of, or engineering something they can draw with is complicated, but an interesting project to undertake that you'll see here at the top. Pulling and pulling projects is a really great one because it ties nicely into some of those science units of work. So this particular robot, you can see here, they had to measure the distance that it was able to drag a cup across the room. That tied really nicely into that science unit of work. Theming your unit of work around a certain topic can be interesting too. So that way you're still tying in and dragging that interest across different KLAs, like this Christmas-based one here. That's like Santa getting pulled in the sleigh. Down the bottom here, you've got one that is more of a, like the Venus flytrap. And it uses sensors to know when to close when an object appears across the top. And there are other ones, like there's a bee pollinator unit that sits in the app. It's another really great one to tie in some of those units of work. At the top here, there's a shot from a school that did a volcano warning system, which was a cool one to build in there. So they used the different sensors to detect movement, and they had to create some sort of action or alarm that, so that tied in really nicely with the unit of work around in the classroom that was already going on. So while these projects some of this work with your kits won't run over the entire term, but might be just one segment in a larger piece of work. And at the bottom right of the screen there, you can see one where they designed a robot, but then they decided to, rather than perform a special function, it was used on a green screen, and they used that to create a video to make it look like this robot was flying above the earth, which is really cool. And in the bottom in the middle there, the last one that I'll talk about on this screen is this particular task was a Rapunzel. It was tied into their English, and the students had to design a way of getting Rapunzel out of the tower by having the robot come up and perform some sort of function. So a really great way to get that diversity across the board. One other really great repository of information or units of work that you can find is in the STEM T4L library. This is also the same place that you need to jump in and let us know if you're having any problems with your gear. And you'll also find a huge series of how-to videos. So over here in the STEM T4L library, when you arrive, it'll look like this. And for our kit today, we're going to drop down the drop-down arrow, and I'm going to tap here on Tablet Robotics. Now, as I scroll down the page, there'll be a few videos, and they'll update over time. There's a good story here about Mount St. Thomas Public School using the kit. We'll go past the videos, which are really, really great to watch to learn about all the different elements in our kit. And we're going to arrive down here at the learning challenges. And here is where you'll find some really great project ideas for your Lego WeDo. To find which kit uses which robot, it's just a matter of reading the descriptions or clicking into the challenges. So I know bee pollinators is one. And all our challenges are broken down into 3 mini challenges and then a main challenge at the end. So 3 stepping stones into a main challenge. So in here, it breaks your work down into, the first step is always getting to know your robot. How does it behave? What can we learn about the mechanics of it? And as we then move through the other challenges, it starts to build in. This challenge also uses the Dash robot. But here on Plants and Pollinators, there's a task here for the WeDos to complete, and that uses the built-in project apps as well inside our robots. So have a dig through the STEM Learning Library to have a look through some of the other different units of work, and just click in and out and see which ones use the Lego WeDo. But it's a really great place to learn and discover and find different units of work that operate over a series of KLAs to build a super engaging and interactive unit of work.
This video is part of a series of support videos all about the kit that you have borrowed. To find the other videos in this series, head to the Learning Library and visit the kit page for the equipment you've borrowed. You can also find the full list of support videos for all of our kit on the YouTube channel. You can also join us in the Yammer community. If you have any questions or you'd like to ask teachers how they've used the equipment in their classroom, then why not join us on the STEM T4L Facebook community? It's a closed group. You can ask teachers how they've used the equipment and also share the work samples that your students have created.